Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you can't tell, I have kind of lost my voice. It's gonna go in and out throughout this whole video. We had a long weekend and it was a long story that I'm sure y'all don't want me to babble about. I'm sorry if it bothers you, but I need to continue to put out videos for y'all. It is what it is, and I hope it doesn't bother y'all too much. It's not really bad, but the end of the video might get a little worse because the longer I talk, the worse my voice gets. So that's that. I hope y'all are having a great Tuesday and welcome to today's video. Today's video is about Crystal Rogers. Crystal is from Bradstown, Kentucky, who went missing on July 3rd, 2015. At the time of Crystal's disappearance, she was 35 years old and she was a mom to 5 kids. She was living with her boyfriend Brooks at the time, their son Eli, who was 2, and then Crystal's other 4 children. Brooks was the last person to actually see Crystal, saying that she was on her phone playing games at the house when he woke up the next morning and Crystal and her vehicle were gone. Hey y'all, welcome back to Crime Time with Mal. If you are new to my channel, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I hope you like what you see and decide to subscribe down below and hit that notification bell. For any of y'all that haven't hit that bell, it just lets you know whenever I upload a video. And with every like, it not only helps out my channel, but it helps out Crystal to spread more awareness on her case. This case is actually getting national news, so the more thumbs up, the more people that share it, you know, just helps bring some awareness to Crystal, and maybe we can get some closure on her case. As always, I'm gonna tell y'all just to be nice down in the comments below. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, to strictly help spread awareness about the cases that I talk about. Please don't reach out to anybody that I mentioned in today's video, and please don't leave any mean comments down below or they will get deleted. Just be a nice person. So Crystal Rogers is the oldest of 3 kids. Her parents are Sherry and Tommy Ballard, and like I said, they live in Bradstown, Kentucky. Now this place is very, very small. It's actually a beautiful town. I mean, it's stunning, and I'm from a small town, so I love small town vibes. It only has about 13,000 people in the town, so it's a pretty quiet town. Crystal is described as very down to earth. She's kind of shy, but she made friends very easily. She loved family. She loves her kids. She's very easygoing, and she loves her kids so much that she had multiple jobs just to make sure that they had a great life and they were well taken care of. And even though Crystal started out having kids at a very young age, she was a great mom. Now, to be quite honest, Crystal, like me and a lot of other people I know, have picked pretty guys in the past, and she was actually married before and she was going through a divorce, so Crystal and her kids needed to find a place to rent. They found a place and the landlord's name was Brooks. Brooks and Crystal ended up liking each other and they started to casually date. As time went on and their dating began more serious, they moved in together, and they didn't ended up marrying each other, but they did move in together, and they had a child named Eli, who was 2 years old at the time of Crystal's disappearance. And Crystal's family said that they liked Brooks. They welcomed him with open arms, and they, you know, didn't have really any reason not to like him, until they started noticing that Brooks was actually treating Eli better than he was Crystal's other 4 children. Like I heard that they went to the grocery store one time and Brooks made Crystal buy her and her other 4 kids their food, and Brooks actually bought him and Eli's food. Kind of weird. On July 3rd, 2015, Brooks and Crystal were planning on going on a date. So Crystal's 4 kids went to their dad's house, and Brooks told the kids that Eli was gonna stay at home with a babysitter, I believe, but actually I think he just didn't want to make the kids feel unwelcomed or something. But actually Eli ended up going with them on their date. And earlier that day, Crystal was helping Brooks at some of his rental properties around doing some landscaping, and then went to Walmart to get some groceries and headed home to get ready for their date. So Crystal's daughter Kaylee was actually trying to get a hold of Crystal that night on July 3rd. And when she couldn't get a hold of her mother, she ended up calling her grandma Sherry and asked if she got a hold of her. Sherry called Crystal, ended up leaving a voicemail, and they waited a little bit. Later on that night, Kaylee tried calling her grandmother again to see if she heard back from her mother, and Sherry said no. So Kaylee called her mom and she didn't answer, so she left a voicemail. They then called around to family and friends to see if anybody had heard from Crystal, and everybody said they had not heard from her. Sherry's other daughter, Brooke, so Crystal's sister, tried to call Crystal and her phone went straight to voicemail. So in a panic now, Sherry and Tommy, Crystal's parents, head to the police department to file a missing person report on Crystal. And while they're on their way, they run into Brooks. And Sherry stops and says, "Hey Brooks, have you heard from Crystal? I can't get a hold of her and we're really worried." And very nonchalantly, he just calmly says, no, he hasn't. He last saw her when she was playing games on her phone at the house, and when he woke up at 8 a.m., Eli was in their bed and Crystal and her car were gone. Sherry told Brooks that she's worried because nobody can get a hold of her, and she was going to go file a missing person report. And again, Brooks was just like, okay, very calm, chill, didn't seem worried. And this kind of set off alarms with Sherry, as I think it would anybody. Brooks actually said that sometimes when they would get into an argument, which no, he did not say they got into a fight that night. They went on a date, you know, no fighting mentioned. But he did say he thought that, you know, nothing of it, that she went to her cousin Sabrina's house and just spent the night over there. But when Nancy Grace was talking to Brooks, that he didn't report her missing because, you know, they had a stressed relationship at times, and he wasn't really that worried. And again, about the whole cousin thing, that she went to her cousin's house. But Sabrina, Crystal's cousin, said yes, she would come over sometimes, but she would always leave to go home and she never spent the night. So now Crystal's brother, Casey, has joined his parents to file the missing persons report at the police department. And while they're there, Casey gets a call from Crystal's ex-husband. And I'm not sure if it's Crystal's ex-husband or the son that they shared together, but there was a call that said that they think that they spotted Crystal's car off of Bluegrass Parkway. So immediately, Tommy and Casey head to Bluegrass Parkway, while Sherry stays there and files the missing person report. And when they get to the highway, Crystal's 2007 maroon 4-door Chevy sedan is there, but Crystal is nowhere to be seen. They found it at mile marker 14, and the keys were in the ignition along with her purse, and one of the tires was going flat. It wasn't all the way flat, but it was going flat. And then 3 other tires were also low on air. There was also black skid marks in the road, but Crystal's brother and her family doesn't think that she pulled over on the side of the road because of this flat tire, because Crystal was very safety precautious. She didn't want to pull over on the side of the road really for any reason. And especially if this was late at night, it's normal for her not to pull over. In fact, it's so normal for her not to want to pull over on the side of the road that she has driven her car all the way home on a flat tire and messed up the rim really bad. And I don't know, maybe she learned her lesson from that and pulled over, but her family does not think that she actually did. And also, the driver's seat was not in its ordinary position that Crystal would be driving in. It was scooted. On July 5th, information was released to the media, and this case started to get national news, which is great. So keep spreading this as much as possible to get as much coverage on this as possible. Again, the more likes and shares helps Crystal. They have put signs everywhere all around town trying to find Crystal. They have volunteers have came together to help search for Crystal, and everyone is helping search for Crystal except for Brooks. And Brooks says that he's doing everything behind the scenes, and if that sounds familiar because actually Scott Peterson in my last video said the same thing to the media, that he's working behind scenes with the police department. And that's what Brooks said, that he is working everything behind the scenes with the Nelson Sheriff's Police Department. And at this point, friends and family started trying to put pieces together. You know, like he hasn't treated Eli and Crystal's other kids the same way. Since Crystal and Brooks started talking, you know, Crystal has been kind of secluded. She hasn't been talking to her family as much. She's just changed since she's met Brooks. And they also said that Brooks was pretty controlling. And on July 6th, a $25,000 reward was put out for any information on Crystal. And on July 8th, 5 days after Crystal goes missing, Brooks goes into the police department for his interview. And I'm not gonna put the video here, like I say, but it is on YouTube, and it's actually on, I think, the Nelson County Sheriff's Police Department YouTube. That's where I found it. It's a pretty lengthy video, him and a couple of other interviews that I'm about to tell you about later on, but they just don't give me good vibes, you guys. They don't give me good vibes, and y'all go check them out and let me know if I can remember. Hopefully I can remember, but if I can remember, I'll link the videos in the description box, and y'all go watch them after this video and let me know what y'all think about the interviews. And Brooks told the detective, I believe his name is Detective Snow, but he told him that around 7 p.m., Brooks, Eli, and Crystal went to Brooks's family farm where his mom lives, and it's about 15 miles away from where they live. And when they got there, Brooks said that they fed the cows and he burnt some burnables and in the fire pit. And you know, that's common in the South or in the country. You burn your like cardboards or boxes or whatever. So instead of, sometimes recycling doesn't even come out there, and we just burn them instead. And I believe they have cameras on this farm. And at one point, a camera actually picked up Brooks leaving the farm and coming back. Police asked him what that was about, and he said that he was going to pick up some more cow feed, and he came back. Then they took a walk, and side note, it was actually a rainy night, but he said they took a walk, and it wasn't long before midnight, and police started asking, you know, why so late with a 2-year-old, you know, just questioning. And he's like, you know, it's normal for us to do stuff at night because Crystal's a night owl. So when they got home, Brooks and Eli went to bed, and Brooks said that Crystal stayed up playing games on her phone. When he woke up at 8 a.m., he noticed Eli was in the bed with her, went out to go find Crystal, and Crystal and her car were gone. So he got him and Eli dressed and went back to the farm, assuming that Crystal was at Sabrina's house. He said he did call Crystal 2 times, but Crystal didn't answer, and he didn't want to bother him because when, you know, she would go off, they needed their space, and he didn't want to make her upset by calling her over and over and bugging her. But again, I don't think they fought that night. Then later on that day is when he actually ran into Sherry. Then after that, he ended up actually going to a family get-together for a July 4th party when his girlfriend is missing. And then by the next morning on Sunday, Crystal still wasn't there, so police started to grill him and ask him questions and really started to grill him. You know, you've seen interrogations, you know they will go in at you. Well, Brooks didn't like this, and he ended up getting snappy and said, if you keep going at it like this, I'm gonna walk out and I'm gonna leave. The police find out that around the same time that Crystal went missing, Brooks gets a phone call from a number that he doesn't know. When police ask what this phone call was about, he claims that he does not remember. So the police makes Brooks call this number back, and when this person answers, it's actually a runner that was calling Brooks to ask for more information, but he needed to get back with them because he needed to check with Crystal on more information about that property. But why would he need to call him back if he was actually with Crystal? And also during his interrogation at this moment, Nick, Brooks' brother, calls him, and Nick is actually a police officer himself. And during this phone call, which it's all on video, you'll need to go watch it because I don't want to like quite say my opinion on these guys quite yet, but y'all just need to go watch the interrogations, okay? Just take my word for it. During this phone call, Nick tells Brooks, hey, you need to go. They're trying to make you look guilty and you need to get out of here. And Brooks is like, all right, if you're telling me to leave, then I'll leave. But, you know, I think I should stay. I'm just trying to help. And I don't know, the way he says it, it just kind of, it rubs me the wrong way. But he ends up walking out. And the police department think this is kind of weird considering Nick is a police officer, and you would think that he would just be like, dude, just sit down, tell them what they need to know, work with them, and, you know, let's be done with this and find Crystal. You would think that he would be trying to help investigations and help finding Crystal. And Brooks ends up taking a polygraph test and it comes back inconclusive. Now, polygraph test, you know, it's not gonna hold up in court anyway, but it is kind of interesting to just know the results. And usually they're pretty accurate. And because police found it weird that Nick was telling his brother to leave during their interrogation or during their interview, it wasn't even an interrogation at this time. He was just asking questions because he was the last person to see Crystal. They asked Nick to come in for an interview. A few days later, on July 10th, the reward goes up to $71,000. They ended up doing a bigger search of the farm and all of the surrounding areas. And that same day, witnesses told police that they saw Nick moving a strange item from his car to Rosemary's car, which is Nick and Brooks's mom, who lives at the farm. And then around 8:30 p.m., the same day that Crystal went missing, Crystal's ex-husband goes to Brooks and Crystal's house to get some clothes for the kids to spend the night there that weekend. And her ex-husband says while he is there, Brooks gets a phone call from Nick, and he's acting very strange and ends up just saying, Nick needs help, I gotta go, and walks out the door. July 12th, 2015, they searched Lake Mallori, which is at the farm property. They brought in cadaver dogs and still nothing was found, but cadaver dogs did alert multiple times in the same spot in that lake, but nothing was found. And Crystal's family does believe that Brooks took her life at the farm and disposed her body in that lake. Now, finally, on July 15th, Nick comes in for his interview, and y'all need to look at this interrogation as well. Well, sorry, not interrogation, interview. And police department questioned Nick about why was he on the phone with Brooks around 2 hours, and then he immediately leaves in his cop car with Brooks and goes to the farm. And Nick says that he does not remember why. They brought in the cop car to search and they did luminol testing, and in the trunk they found a blanket that had bodily fluids on it. But Nick said that they won't find DNA on it. And also, usually cop cars, I guess, keep fire extinguishers in their car, and his was missing. They suggested that Brooks fought Crystal and ended up taking her life, called Nick, asked him for help, and Nick drove to the farm to help him. And Nick absolutely shut this down, said y'all are crazy, that did not happen. And he took a polygraph test and failed. And again, said police are crazy, that they faked the results. He was super rude, cussing at them, screaming at them, just acting like a fool. Like, I was shocked that this was a police officer. That's completely unacceptable, and it drew obvious red flags to these investigators. And on October 16th, 2015, Nelson County Sheriff went on TV and fired Nick from the police department. He fired him for interference in a case and said that it was completely unacceptable the way that he behaved, and they also presumed Crystal passed away. So the family at this point were pretty hopeful that they were going to have some kind of arrest made with Brooks or Nick, and unfortunately that has not happened. This guy, Danny Singleton, was actually indicted at the end of 2015 for 35 counts of perjury and giving false testimony on Crystal's case. He's actually a longtime friend of Brooks, and they spoke to each other the morning that Crystal disappeared. Detective Dwayne Stanton is now on the case, and he said that it doesn't look like they really collected a lot of evidence, and there was only one fingerprint actually lifted from the vehicle. Family has then brought in their own experts, and they found a lot of junk in this, I was about to say junk in this trunk. They found a lot of junk in this car that, you know, they said just didn't belong there, didn't seem like it would even be Crystal's. And they brought in cadaver dogs, and those cadaver dogs signaled at the trunk. They did a luminol testing on the trunk and found DNA, but the DNA has not matched anybody in the system as of yet. And the family also brought in some more dive teams and cadaver dogs to search the lake for the fourth time, and still nothing has been found. It's so frustrating for this family. I feel so bad for them. So Tommy, Crystal's dad, started to investigate himself. He got really deep into this case, got surveillance footage from the Walmart, had all kind of notes compiled together, and even made a Facebook page about Crystal's case so that anybody could come on there to discuss anything about Crystal and any information. And on November 19th, 2016, Tommy, his son Casey, and their son, and Casey's son Trenton, went on a hunting trip. And this hunting trip, you know, this was something that Tommy did a lot. He hunted in the same area a bunch of times for years and years and years, and everybody knew that this is the area he hunted. And I know what they're talking about because my dad hunts in South Georgia, and he's been hunting there since before I was born. Everybody that knows my dad knows this. So when they arrived to the campsite, Trenton and Tommy went off to go walking in the woods, and they ended up going into this clearing in the woods that was just like a little circle of an opening, and trees were surrounding this area. Trenton, his grandson, said that his grandpa bent down to go look into the scope of the gun, and as he bent down, he was shot from behind. Now, everybody in this town is completely shocked and heartbroken. They said Tommy is just such an amazing man, and everybody in the community and the family is just completely devastated by this news. I mean, how crazy is this? A little over a year, and now Crystal's dad is taken. And actually, investigators found a little clearing in the woods, like somebody had cleared a little spot to sit, and they found marks on this tree, thinking that is from the kickback of the gun that was shot to shoot Tommy. And everybody knows this was not an accident because, again, everybody knew that Tommy hunted in this area for years. And also, Tommy mentioned multiple times that he felt like he was actually being stalked and followed by somebody, but he just didn't know who. So was he getting too close to finding out what happened to Crystal and somebody took him out? Or you think this was a hunting accident? Let me know in the comments below. So now the family has all of Tommy's research, and they start going through everything. And in this Walmart surveillance video, they notice that a white car keeps going by, a white SUV. Strangely enough, Rosemary, Brooks and Nick's mom, has a car very similar to that she recently just sold. And they end up finding this car, and I believe they search it, but nothing was ever made public about what happened or what they found or anything. But I thought that was interesting, so I had to put that in there. So July 2017, 2 years after Crystal is missing, a Crystal Malcolm gets arrested and pleads guilty to vandalizing the signs around town and throwing the signs away of Crystal missing. It turns out that this is Brooks's new girlfriend. Suspicious. Why? Now, forgive me, but I'm pretty sure it says July 23rd, but I saw a couple of articles that said July 24th, but I'm pretty sure it was July 23rd of this year, there was remains found in a creek bank in a wooded area where some erosion had gone by. The water had gone down and there was like a little hole in the side of the creek bed, and that the landowner found some remains. They did determine that it was human remains. They sent it off to a DNA lab in Virginia to do some DNA extraction to find out more information. But I believe they did determine, now I saw some articles with a wide age range, like 24 to 80 something, but I found somewhere that they determined that it was a female at least the age of 24, between 5'2" and 5'11". Crystal was actually 5'9". On August 6th, FBI took over the case, and this gave Sherry some great hopes that, you know, some questions that have been in her mind for the past over 5 years could finally be answered. The same day that the FBI took over, they served several search warrants, and over 150 federal and state law enforcement officers served Brooke and Nick's home. They also served Rosemary's farm. And then later on, they ended up taking Crystal's car from one of Sherry's storage units, and they also searched, I believe, her storage unit. They took a ton of evidence, or I don't even know if it's evidence, but they did carry a bunch of stuff out and put it into the vehicles. And not much more information has been on this case. That is, you know, August is really the last update that has been updated, and this DNA extraction could take quite a bit of time, unfortunately. I believe sometimes it could even take years to get the extraction back, the results back from the extraction. So I'm crossing my fingers that they can know some sort of answers soon and Crystal's family can get answers, because that poor mom, oh my gosh, to lose your daughter, or to have her missing and just have so many unknown answers, and then to have your husband taken from you too. My thoughts and prayers and good vibes will be definitely with that family, and my heart goes out to them. So I will keep y'all updated on any updates that come out, and if y'all know any information or anything, no matter how small it is, the FBI did create a website for, you know, information for Crystal's whereabouts. So that website is www.crystalrogerstaskforce.com. And I hope y'all liked today's video. Hopefully we can get some answers for this family. So please, you guys, like, and share this video. It will spread awareness for Crystal, most importantly, and it does help my channel out, to be honest with you. So I'm not gonna lie there, it does help me out. Please keep your eyes and ears open for any information, and if I missed anything, please let me know down in the comments below. Also, let me know what your opinions are about this case, and thank you so much for watching. Please remember to always be kind. Please, to everyone you meet, it doesn't cost a penny to be kind. Literally, it doesn't cost anything, so just do it. Be kind, it makes the world better. And with everything going on nowadays, I feel like the world needs as much kindness as we can give it. So do your part to make the world a better place. And I will see y'all in Thursday's video. Thank you again so much for watching. I love y'all more than words could say. Y'all are truly amazing people, and thank you so much for everything, for all your support, all your kind comments, and all your likes, because y'all are just the bomb. Nobody says that anymore, Mallori. And a fly. I hope y'all have a great day, and hopefully by Thursday I will have somewhat of a voice back. So, bye.
Make some trouble, baby.